Well, today we have garden treasures from our friends at Hunkydory, and Heidi has had a great time making things with them. There are 3 pieces to this, and I'll walk you through all of it. But first, let me just show you one of the cards that Heidi has done. Won't you please play with us? Okay, well, let's get started with the one on my left, and this is called Garden Treasures. This is foiled edge to edge. Now that means that it's not just spot foiled, it is, as you can see, edge to edge. And you're going to get 16 sheets in this. There's going to be 8 of them on 2 different colors. So for instance, this is on yellow. It's also on purple, so that's pretty. And I've got an all over on this purple, and we also have it in pink, which I'll show you in that first card. We also have it in green. And in yellow, so I guess we get more. And this has got all kinds of icons of gardening. And this is in brown, it's also in green, also in tan. And then we have this plaid that I really love, and this is in green and pink, as well as we've got a tan and a browns, which I'll show you that Heidi has used. So again, 16 sheets. And then we have the Garden Treasures. Now this is just the toppers. So there are 8 sheets. There are 4 designs. You get 2 of each. So let me just show them to you. So this has got the foiling, of course, and they're all die cut. And these are called element sheets. So you'll see that in the instructions. All of these will open up and just pop right out. And here is another. You can see the gardening theme, and let's see, I want you to see that foiling. And then we've got this fence, very long fence, so certainly would be good for scrapbooking also. Okay, so all of these are in that sheet, so you can use them lots of different ways. And then we have these tags. Now the tags are 3.5 by 3.25 by 5 inches, and they are gummed at the bottom. And there are 48 sheets in here. There are 12 designs, and of course you're going to get 4 of each. And let me just show them to you. We've got the duck. There's the duck. We've got some that have words, and there's several that Heidi has used. A little mouse, really cute, and strawberries. A little birdie told me as well. And they do have a hole punched at the top. Little bunny. In fact, there are a couple of bunnies in here. We have a badger, and have a beautiful day, which you will see that also used. And thanks so much. Now these are not foiled, but they are die cut, and as you can see in the shape, a little fox and a mouse being friends. As well as we've got some hedgehog, thank you, and another little bunny, and we've got another little bunny. Okay, like I said, several bunnies, because that's kind of gardeny. Okay, so all of these, and then let's get started with our first project. And this is going to be the one that I showed you. And Heidi has started with the 5 by 6.5 inch cardstock base for her card. And you can see there's lots of things going on. Now what she did is she placed it with the fold at the top, and then she cut off 2 inches, I believe maybe 2.5 inches. It will be in the instructions. So for the instructions, just look at the cards. They're down below, and just click on it. And then you'll see the card image, both the front and the inside. And then you'll see the directions over on the right-hand side. You can print them off if you want to. Now, Heidi wanted to use not only that edge-to-edge foiling, which you can see how pretty, but she also wanted some solid cardstock. So she elected to use, this is tulips and butterflies. You can see all the colors, very pretty for a garden. So that she's used. And on that flap that was left, she covered it with the light pink and then cut a smaller dark pink piece. So that worked nicely. Now, she went into that tags, and she used this one. Hope your day blossoms with joy. That's a really nice saying. And she did mat this on the gold. So you're familiar with this, I know. And then foam taped it on top. Now when she foam taped it, she wanted to leave a little bit of room for this. Now this is one of the edging pieces, and she's used it over here too. Let me show you what that looks like on the sheet. And here it is. So it's right there. It's got some foiling on it that you can see. So just pop that out. And she used one piece here and then trimmed off the edge and tucked it underneath that foam tape. So that worked nicely. And then she pulled out a singular rose and foam taped that right here, right next to the word blossoms. Then she went into another of the elements pages, and you can see that bunny right there. Yes, he's foiled. And foam taped him there, and then also had another little piece that had some of the blossoms on it. And popped that out, you can see it right here, and tucked it under that little guy foam taped. So this is foam taped and this is foam taped. Everything else is glued flat. Now, knowing Heidi, she's going to make a bow, and she's going to make it perfectly because she uses the bow maker, also by Hunkydory. And this is what it looks like. And there is a video on the product page where I showed you how to use it. And she used the magenta and dark pink ribbon selection. And so that is right there. Then inside, she again covered it with the pink. And then she cut a piece of the foiled edge to edge. And that's what that looks like. You saw the other colors in the beginning and glued that in place. Now, she also used a second tag. And she used this one and trimmed it just to make sure that the bunny was there. She did cut off that little ladybug, and she did cut off the scallop part, matted that on the gold, and then glued this so that it's going to be covered when that flap is down. Did another bow and zodded it in place. So that is our first card. It kind of gives you a taste of the edge to edge, as well as the tags, as well as those garden treasures, topper elements is what they're called. So that's our first card. Okay, so you got the hang of it now. Okay, let's go to our second card. This too has the fold at the top. This too is 5 by 6.5. And in this one, she didn't do any cutting of the card itself, but she did use that same solid color. So again, that's the tulips and butterflies. So you can see there's 2 greens. And with that, she covered the front of her card, cutting the cardstock just a little bit smaller than her card and gluing that down. Okay, then she took a piece of the edge to edge. Here it is. Cut it, you'll see the size in the directions, and then matted it on the gold, that same gold that she used on the first card. And that's going to accent all of the gold foiling. You can see it just pops, doesn't it? Now, before she positioned it, she took the ivory ribbon and she used the grosgrain, and she glued a piece or 2 pieces and crisscrossed them, glued the ends behind this piece, and then she foam taped it in place. And it's about a 1/4 of an inch from the left side. And so that's going there. And then she made and zodded a bow and put it on the front. Then this, let me show you, that of course is going to be a tag, as you've probably figured out. And so what she did is she actually tore it, and it kind of looks torn right there. So she just followed that edge, and she also tore it at the bottom and then on each side. So that's what she did. Now this piece that was left over, not to be losing anything, but she took that torn piece and right here, just tucked that under and glued it in place. So that worked nicely. So then she had, and this is the sheet that she used. You saw all of those with the little characters on them. Let me see. Okay, so we've got a little duckling, and he's foam taped right there. There is a second one, and that's foam taped right there. The bee is just glued in place, so that's giving us a nice 3, kind of a triangle for that. Now the hello is from the Tiny Words and Phrases, and this is available all by itself. And this is just a really good example where there isn't much room with all of these things going on, but maybe you still want to have a greeting. So the tiny words and phrases works beautifully. And there's a ton of them, all kinds. So the hello and the little heart were placed right there. Now inside, okay, so now we're going to go blue. And this is still using, well, let me show it to you. So that was the first one. And then here is the second. So it's light blue and green, and you saw the other colors in there too. So first the light blue out of the solid cardstock, then a smaller piece of this. Then she cleverly used the fence. Now, you could do a couple of things with this, so that's really very long. Now, this is 11 and probably a little longer than 11, maybe 11 and a half. You could just go to here and then cut that in half and attach each side. That would work just fine. They're just glued in place, so you can do that. She also, or if you, but since you're not going to see that that door, maybe you want to save that for later. Okay, so that's kind of what I would do: is cut it here, cut it in half, and glue each right there. Now for this one, now this isn't going to fit inside because it's too tall. So she trimmed off the top shoulders just right there. Okay. And then she matted it again on that gold metallic, which I've shown you now twice. And she also wrapped some of that ivory ribbon. Now this time she used the narrower, it's about 1/8 of an inch. And so she's wrapped it twice. And then this piece gets foam taped, yes, foam taped in place. And then she knotted a little bow. Now, the flowers that are back here, those also came from those first sheets, those topper sheets, which I have now buried on my table. Okay, where are you, little topper sheets? Well, goodness, that's silly. Okay, I can't find them. So what I will do is just have you trust me. So these flowers, that's also part of the topper sheets, the element sheets, and you do get 2 of those. So those were tucked under. Now the owls, or the birds, are on the sheet with the animals. And so that is, okay, I found my sheets. It's not so bad. So the birds are going to be here, I believe, not on this sheet. Okay, here are some more. These flowers, do you see this? Well, she's just trimmed that to use the 2 pieces. So that worked nicely. And I'm just looking through these. And I guess our little birds are going to be there somewhere. There's a lot of really cute things. Okay. So they're going to be foam taped on top. It's cute that they're sitting on the fence. So this is a very balanced design where you see we've got a focal and we've got this pair and this pair also. So nice. I love what she did with the ribbon. Okay, that is our second card. Now for the third card, she did something different, which we really love. And this is on the Hunkydory slimline cards. These are tent cards, meaning that the fold is at the top on the narrow end. So it's going to look like that. It's going to be like that. So she did a couple of things. She started with the tan plaid right there, and she cut a piece that is 3 7/8 inches by 7 inches, okay? And this piece is going to be foam taped, and what's going to happen is there's a little pocket, and that pocket is going to hold this tag. Hope you have a beautiful day. Okay, but to make that pocket, you're going to take some foam tape, and I've got some dimensions here for you. So we're going to take 1 strip, and we're going to cut it in half lengthwise. So it's 3 1/2 inches long, but then you just chop it in half and place those 2 at the top of your piece. Then we're going to have some 3-inch long full pieces, and we're going to create right here. And then she put a couple of pieces in there. So this is going to create an opening. So this is going to get foam taped onto the card, but first you're going to need a small piece just to back this top area So this is 3 7/8 again, but it's about 1.5 inches. So you're going to glue that down first. It's out of the plaid. Then you're going to take this piece and foam tape it on. Now remember, this is the plaid, okay? And so that's all in place. And then her tag is this one. And as I said, they all have a hole in the top. And she has used, this is the gold and silver ribbons. Looks like a lot of gold, doesn't it? But there's silver in there too. And so she just took her length, threaded the center of it, so fold it in half and thread the center through, and then put the tails through that loop and pulled them taut. And that's how she just did her top. And then that just slides right in. Okay, so that works nicely. Now, she did right here add a small piece. This is the brown, really pretty. And this has going to get foam taped, but first she did another piece of the ribbon, same ribbon, and wrapped it around. And then later she zotted a bow on top. So that just works nicely. Now this little plant poke says especially for you, and she's foam taped that so it kind of goes into the bow. Now down here she has some again of the elements. So this piece of the lavender has been foam taped. These pots are tucked underneath the lavender, and this one is foam taped on top of it. But for dirt, what are you going to do for dirt? Well, the clever woman, she took the black caviar beads, okay? So she used the precision glue press and just squirted some glue on the top of each pot and then poured on the black caviar beads, tapped them off, put those that she didn't use back in the bag, and left it just like that. So you've got your front all done with several interesting things going on. Now inside, she has the tan that she has matted onto the brown and just glued it in place. Now this is her second tag, and this one too is going to get the same treatment with the ribbon, just like she did in the first. And then we've got some animals. So we've got a bunny that is leaping over the tag. Then we have a butterfly on top, and of course that is just foam taped on the body. And then we have a little snail down here. And then also to add a greeting, she used the same tiny words and phrases to have blessings and joys added. So that finishes our third card. Really pretty, really fun use of the products. Okay, one more card, and let me show this to you. And we're back to the 5 by 6.5 inch. We'll get in just a bit tighter. And again, in this one, she is using the edge-to-edge foiled, and this time the green, at least on the front it's the green. And she has matted it on that gold Mary cardstock and glued that to the front. Now this tag, she is using complete, but she has matted the straight edges on the glitter, the gold glitter. And I think that's a fun look for the gardening, just adding a bit of pizzazz to it. So again, it's just matting the straight edges, not the top. And then she's foam taped several things around it. So notice that's kind of at an angle. And so she's got the, let's see, the ladybug and the mouse, little flower, another plant poke. And then she's done another bow using the bow maker. And she's used the gingham ribbon, which just adds a pop of contrasting color, which I think is really nice. And so there's one there. And then over here, she's got this plant as well as a trawl and a hat and a butterfly, all foam taped. That little mouse is glued flat. And then this ribbon has just been tied around this, or just, yeah, it's been tied around. You could just knot it in place, whichever you like. I love the ladybug on top of that plant marker. So that's really nice. She didn't have to do much to that tag, did she? Now on the inside, she has another, and this is the edge-to-edge blue with that beautiful spray of flowers along the bottom. And she's used a second tag, and it's this one. Now this one too got cut down, so she cut up to the shoulders and just cut straight. And she matted that onto the glitter, and that's going to get foam taped in place. I don't think hopefully I mentioned that the blue was also matted on the gold, the straight gold that she's used on, I think, all the projects. And then this piece is also on the elements, and it looks like this. So she used part of it before. Now you get 2 sheets, and I do like to show you that foiling because I think it's so pretty. And so didn't use that one. She used this one, Paulette. Stay focused. Okay, so you can see this is really long. So she foam taped it in place and then trimmed it right here. So then, as you know, you can use those other pieces on many things. And she's got some strawberries that are foam taped, another little flower, and another little flower up here. And then to add to that shiny, she used the gold jewel dazzles. I know that that is just a really wow in your eyes, but you can see as each one is placed, it does a nice job. Another out of the gingham, she's added the red and zotted that in place. And that takes care of it. So there's a lot you can do. And I think the addition of those tags is really, really nice. So just to recap, we have the edge-to-edge cardstock. You're going to get 16 sheets. You get 8 designs, each on 2 different. Actually, I think that you're going to get 4 designs on 4 sheets. Yeah, so that's good. So anyway, you saw all of the designs, so that's nice. The Garden Treasures topper elements, there's going to be 8 sheets, 2 each of the 4 that I showed you. And then these absolutely charming tags. There are 48 there, and they are very sturdy, as you can kind of tell as I was working with them and showing them to you. They're very sturdy. So all of this is in a money saver. Where? On the right-hand side of your screen, of course. We just really like to give you a special savings if you elect to buy the entire collection, so that works nicely. And if you happen to be watching us on YouTube, we really hope that you would enjoy this, first of all, like us and subscribe. Then head on over to paperwishes.com, because that's where you're going to find this selection, as well as the instructions. They're down below, and that will just take really good care of you. I want to thank Heidi for sharing her creativity with us and doing such a nice job of doing some different things, and appreciate that, Heidi. And I want to thank you especially for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you again, actually tomorrow. Bye-bye.